For our first Newfoundland school broadcast this morning, we present Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Today, episode 11, The Lion and the Unicorn.
The White King took Alice to where a great crowd was watching the lion fighting with the unicorn. The two creatures were in such a cloud of dust that at first Alice could not make out which was which. But she soon managed to distinguish the unicorn by his horn. And they placed themselves close to where Hatter, one of the king's messengers, was standing watching the fight with a cup of tea in one hand and a piece of bread and butter in the other. After a while, the White King announced in a loud voice,
10 minutes allowed for refreshment.
Higher and Hatter set to work at once, carrying round trays of white and brown bread.
I think I'll try a piece. Oh, it's very dry.
I don't think they'll fight anymore today. Go and order the drum to begin.
And Hatter went bounding away like a grasshopper. For a minute or two, Alice stood silent, watching him. Then something caught her eye.
Look, there's the White Queen running across the country. She came flying out of the wood over yonder. How fast those queens can run.
There's some enemy after her, no doubt. The wood's full of them.
But aren't you going to run and help her?
No use. She runs so fearfully quick. You might as well try to catch a bandersnatch. But I'll make a memorandum about her if you like. She's a dear, good creature.
He's actually making a note in his memorandum book.
You spell creature with a double E?
At this moment, the unicorn sauntered by them with his hands in his pockets.
I had the best of it this time.
A little. You shouldn't run him through with your horn, you know.
It didn't hurt him.
He was going on when his eye fell upon Alice. He turned round instantly and stood for some time looking at her with an air of the deepest disgust.
What is this?
This is a child. We only found it today. It's as large as life and twice as natural.
I always thought they were fabulous monsters. Is it alive?
It can talk.
Talk, child.
Do you know, I always thought unicorns were fabulous monsters too. I never saw one alive before.
Well, now that we have seen each other, if you believe in me, then I'll believe in you. Is that a bargain?
Yes, if you like.
Come, King, fetch out the plum cake, old man. None of your brown bread for me.
Certainly. Higher? Open the bag. No, not that one. Full of hay.
Higher took a large cake out of the bag and gave it to Alice to hold, while he got out a dish and carving knife.
One wonders how they all came out of the same bag. It is just like a conjuring trick.
The lion had joined them while this was going on. He looked very tired and sleepy, and his eyes were half shut.
What's this?
Ah, what is it now? You'll never guess. I couldn't.
Are you animal or vegetable or mineral?
It's a fabulous monster.
Then hand round the plum cake, monster. And you, King, and you, unicorn, sit down. Both of you. Yeah, play with the cake, you know.
The lion lay down, putting his chin on his paws. The king was evidently very uncomfortable at having to sit down between the two great creatures. But there was no other place for him. The unicorn looked slyly up at the crown, which the poor king was nearly shaking off his head. He trembled so much.
What a fight we might have for the crown now.
I should win easy.
I'm I'm not so sure of that.
Why, I beat you all round the town, you chicken.
The king grew more and more nervous, but he felt bound to prevent the quarrel going on.
All around the town? That's a good long way. Did you go by the old bridge or the marketplace? You get the best of the view by the old bridge.
I'm sure I don't know. There was too much dust to see anything. What the time the monster is cutting that cake.
Alice had seated herself on the bank of a little brook, with the great dish on her knees, and was sawing away diligently with the knife.
It's very provoking. I've cut several slices already, but they always join on again.
You don't know how to manage looking-glass cakes, monster. Hand it round first and cut it afterwards.
One is getting quite used to being called the monster. But they do talk such nonsense.
But she obediently got up and carried the dish round, and the cake divided itself into 3 pieces as she did so.
Now cut it up.
But the dish is empty.
I say, this isn't fair. The monster has given the lion twice as much as me.
She's kept none for herself anyhow. Do you like some cake, monster?
But before Alice could answer him, the drums began. Where the noise came from, she couldn't make out. The air seemed full of it, and it rang through and through her head till she felt quite deafened. She started to her feet and sprang across the little brook in her terror, and had just time to see the lion and the unicorn rise to their feet with angry looks at being interrupted in their feast, before she dropped to her knees and put her hands over her ears, vainly trying to shut out the dreadful uproar.
If that doesn't drum them out of town, nothing ever will.
After a while, the noise seemed gradually to die away, till all was dead silence, and Alice lifted up her head in some alarm.
Everyone's gone. I must have been dreaming about the lion and the unicorn and those queer messengers, Hire and Hatter.
However, there was the great dish, still lying at her feet, on which she had tried to cut the plum cake.
So I wasn't dreaming after all. Unless we're all part of the same dream. Only I do hope it's my dream and not the Red King's. I don't like belonging to another person's dream. I've a great mind to go and wake him and see what happens.
At this moment, she was interrupted by a loud shouting.
Ahoy! Ahoy!
And the knight, dressed in crimson armor, came galloping down upon her, brandishing a great club. Just as he reached her, the horse stopped suddenly.
You're my prisoner.
Are you all right, Red Knight?
Well, I'll be all right once I get back on the horse. Well, that's better. You're my...
Ahoy! Ahoy!
Dear, they're so clumsy. Are you all right, White Knight?
I'll be all right when I get back on my horse.
And the two knights sat and looked at each other for some time without speaking. Alice looked from one to the other in some bewilderment.
She's my prisoner, you know, White Knight.
Yes, but then I came and rescued her.
Well, we must fight for her then.
You will observe the rules of battle, of course.
I always do.
They began banging away at each other with such fury that Alice got behind a tree to be out of the way of the blows.
One wonders now what the rules of battle are. One rule seems to be that if one knight hits the other, he knocks him off his horse. And if he misses, he tumbles off himself. And another rule seems to be that they hold their clubs with their arms, as if they were punch you. What a noise they make when they tumble. Just like a whole set of fire irons falling into the fender. And how quiet the horses are. They let them get on and off them just as if they were tables.
Another rule of battlers that Alice had not noticed seemed to be that they always fell on their heels. And the battle ended with their both falling off in this way, side by side. When they got up again, they shook hands. And then the Red Knight mounted and galloped off.
It was a glorious victory, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't want to be anybody's prisoner. I want to be a queen.
So you will, when you've crossed the next brook. I'll see you safe to the end of the wood. Then I must go back, you know. That's the end of my move.
Thank you very much. May I help you off with your helmet? You don't seem to be able to manage by yourself. There you are. That's better.
Now one can breathe more easily.
He put his shaggy hair back with both hands and turned his gentle face and large, mild eyes to Alice.
One has never seen such a strange-looking soldier in all one's life. He's dressed in tin armor, which seems to fit him very badly. And he has a queer-shaped little deal box fastened across his shoulders, upside down, with the lid hanging open. One wonders what it is for.
I see you're admiring my little box. It's my own invention, to keep clothes and sandwiches in. You see, I carry it upside down so that the rain can't get in.
But the things can get out. Do you know the lid's open?
I didn't know it. Then all the things must have fallen out, and the box is no use without them.
He unfastened it as he spoke and was just going to throw it into the bushes when a sudden thought seemed to strike him. And he hung it carefully on a tree.
Can you guess why I did that?
No, I can't.
In hopes some bees may make a nest in it. Then I should get the honey.
But you've got a beehive, or something like one, fastened to the saddle.
Yes, it's a very good beehive, one of the best kind. But not a single bee has come near it yet. And the other thing is a mousetrap. I suppose the mice keep the bees out, or the bees keep the mice out. I don't know which.
I was wondering what the mousetrap was for. It isn't very likely there would be any mice on the horse's back.
Not very likely, perhaps. But if they do come, I don't choose to have them running all about. You see, it's as well to be provided for everything. That's the reason the horse has all those anklets round his feet.
But what are they for?
To guard against the bites of sharks. It's an invention of my own. And now, help me on. I'll go with you to the end of the wood.
You have been listening to Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Today you heard episode number 11, The Lion and the Unicorn.